You good?
Oh, good. I had a meeting with the numbers boys. So you jacking them up? They robbing you. House just broke a couple of minutes ago. I was listening to it on the news. I was listening to it on one of these channels. Let me see. No? Yeah, I was listening to it on that. And they're the only ones who carry the. You're the only ones who carry the parliamentary debate live, right?
The Honorable Deputy Prime Minister.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon,
Sir. Hey, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, I believe it is. My name is Noelle Nichols, the communication consultant with the Ministry of Finance. I'm just going to introduce those persons who are going to be speaking, as well as who will be available to entertain questions, and then we're going to get right into the program. I'd like to welcome the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, the Minister of Finance, as well as the Honorable Dion Folks, the Minister of Labor. They're joined by the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank Acting Country Representative, Mr. Michael Nelson, who is also the Chief of Operations. We also have with us the Financial Secretary, Mr. Marlon Johnson, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor, Ms. Cecilia Strawn, as well as the IDB Labor Market Specialist, Ms. Tamika Davis, who will also be available for technical questions at the end. The country representative for the IDB will speak immediately, followed by the Deputy Prime Minister, and then we will have the signing of the loan agreement and then open the field for questions from the media. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly allow me to adopt established protocol.
Make sure we hear you. It's getting to be so many of these now.
I'll be sure to thank the media as well.
Yeah.
I would like to express my thanks to Deputy Prime Minister Turnquest, Minister of Finance, and IDB Governor, as well as the Honorable Dion Folks, Minister of Labor, Financial Secretary Marlon Johnson, PS Strawn from the Ministry of Labor, all government officials, as well as key stakeholders and the media present, as you can see. I'd like to express my thanks, and I'd like to give some brief remarks today. Today I am pleased to join the government of the Bahamas for the signing of this key investment loan in human capital called the Skills for Current and Future Jobs. This represents an overall investment of $50 million, of which IDB is financing 40%, or $20 million. The rest will be contributed from government resources. It has a 6.5-year grace period, a 6-year disbursement term, and an interest rate based on LIBOR. This program is a result of significant partnership work between the IDB and the government of the Bahamas over the past decade, which includes the IDB-financed Wage and Productivity Survey, which was a survey of some 2,378 firms, Bahamian firms, which concluded that among the difficulties was finding the right skill set within the labor market, specifically with related to job skills, as well as the applicant's lack of experience and lack of soft skills. And as such, there's been some challenge in improving labor productivity in the country. This investment program seeks to address 3 binding factors to lowering unemployment levels and increasing labor productivity. That is skill shortages, the limited capacity of job seekers to connect with opportunities in the job market, as well as limited use and generation of labor market intelligence. To address these constraints, this program has three main components. The first component is pre-apprenticeships, apprenticeships, and sector skills councils, which is a tripartite partnership among the public sector, the private sector, and academic institutions to develop a demand-driven national apprenticeship program in three key industries: in information technology, in maritime and shipping, as well as medical services. And this will combine on-the-job training as well as off-the-job training to provide unemployed Bahamians between the ages of 16 and 40 with the necessary skills that they need to be successful in the job market. The second component is better job matching. And that includes a continuation of the work that we've been pursuing with the public employment services and a construction of a modern, energy-efficient LEED certified, that is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design Compliance Standards, and is fully equipped so that it meets the needs of the job market of the 21st century. And the third component is labor market intelligence systems. And that's strengthening the labor force intermediation process through enhanced labor market intelligence systems. That may sound not very sexy, but really what that means is that it provides policymakers with real-time intelligence on how many Bahamians are skilled in what sector. And that's a lot of leverage to have going into any negotiation. So as a development partner, the IDB is pleased to provide this technical and financial assistance to the government and to the people of the Bahamas. Thank you for your trust. We look forward to continuing our work together to benefit all Bahamians. Thank you.
So good morning. Thank you, Michael, for that comprehensive overview of the program. Certainly, I too would like to join in welcoming everybody here. Today, the government of the Bahamas will formally enter into a loan agreement with the Inter-American Development Bank in the amount of $20 million for the execution of a vitally important initiative, Skills for Current and Future Jobs in the Bahamas. Consistent with previous loans, the tenor or payment period attached to the agreement is 25 years. The interest rate, which is subject to LIBOR, currently stands at 3.06%. The Ministry of Finance, in its capacity as the Bahamas interlocutor with the bank, has the option, based on interest rate fluctuations in the international market, to request a change in the rate from variable to fixed and vice versa. This approach allows the ministry to effectively manage its debt with the IDB. The overall objective of the loan project aims to increase employability and improve access to quality jobs for Bahamians, especially for the youth. This means additional skills training opportunities, particularly in three strategic sectors: maritime, medical services, information technology and telecommunications, and additional apprenticeship programs. These efforts will be targeted at the unemployed and school leavers. This also means new programs to promote communication between employers and training providers in terms of the relevant skills needed to promote higher labor market productivity. Overall, there are three components funded through the loan agreement: an apprenticeship program, an initiative to promote better job matching, and the creation of labor market information systems. The apprenticeship component is expected to, among other things, expand the ongoing National Training Agency pre-apprenticeship initiative to include an additional 1,100 participants. Furthermore, there will be a new training program for advanced participants. The number of persons expected to be recruited for the advanced one-year program is 1,350. All persons selected to this program will receive a stipend. I note that stringent measures will be undertaken to ensure that resources are disbursed in accordance with prescribed policies. Moreover, requisite evaluations will be undertaken to determine whether this initiative is progressing satisfactorily to achieve its stated objective. I'm confident that it will, considering the need to enhance the skills of Bahamians in the sectors of the economy that I previously mentioned. The resources of the loan allocated for the apprenticeship program is approximately $10 million. The civil works components of this initiative will finance the construction of a 43,500 square foot modernized building, which will serve as a one-stop shop to address all matters for job seekers. In addition, the facility is expected to be outfitted with child care services or a nursery to accommodate women who are seeking the services from various support windows in the facility. The amount allocated for this component in the loan is $5 million. $50,000. The amount allocated to the third component, labor market information systems, is $2,350,000. I have no doubt this will give rise to the introduction of modernized technology and the application of international best practices to create effective means of uniting all players in the labor market. Under this component, there is an emphasis on developing robust statistical data and making it more accessible. In other words, we will be looking at the supply side and the demand side for labor market information. Additionally, the flagship initiative under this component is the government's adoption of blockchain technology. In fact, I am pleased to announce that in early September, the Ministry of Finance will convene the first meeting of the National Blockchain Strategy Committee to guide the selection and implementation of blockchain initiatives in the public and private sectors. Blockchain, while still in its early stages, is a pivotal technology that is shaping our 21st century futures. Indeed, it has already reshaped the future of the financial sector. As a government, we are intent on being at the forefront of these changes so we can harness the power of technology to facilitate innovation and economic growth in the Bahamas. Similar to the Internet, which allowed small countries to leapfrog into the future, blockchain has the potential to dramatically improve the ease of doing business with the government and to create entrepreneurial opportunities for Bahamians. We want to demonstrate what is possible and to make sure the legal and regulatory framework is in place to unleash opportunities to the private sector. We have a long way to go, but our intention is to have a clear roadmap that identifies the opportunities and the reputational risks and outlines key economic and social performance indicators for overall strategic success. Although this loan is separate, the work is certainly related to our Digital Bahamas transformational efforts, which falls under another IDB funded project. Through the Ministry of Labor, we have already laid the foundation of the committee's work with a pre-pilot project funded through an earlier technical cooperation grant. Very soon, we will have successful news to share about the completion of that pilot project. As I close, I express gratitude to the staff from the IDB and the technical officers from the Public Service in designing the Skills for Current and Future Jobs project. This project is vitally important, considering our expectations for the Bahamian economy, that it will witness healthy economic growth in the near term. We need our workforce to be prepared for the opportunities and to drive the new wave of growth in the medium and long term. The stage of implementation is now at hand and will require cohesion among all stakeholders and the same level of intensity and focus that contributed to the program's design. I wish all stakeholders much success in executing all activities deemed necessary to advance this project. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. We will now conduct the signing. Gentlemen, pull your mics back, please.
swap pens like that.
Dear Mr. Nelson, please, just for the purposes.
Okay, I'm gonna tell my permanent secretary this is possible.
Well, the second one.
Ladies?
Handshake? Handshake. Very good. Good, good. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Wonder mine disappeared.
The way this works, all the easy questions come to me, and Michael, the hard questions go to me.
Go to the FS.
Of course, they will do the opposite.
Of course.
as you know.
Can you just identify yourself when you ask your question on your media house, please?
I know the Citizen Security Program also had a labor component. Can you talk a bit about the successes that you may have seen through that program? And is there any overlap between what that was expected to achieve in this?
No, that is specifically geared towards at-risk youth, and we already started the program. We have so far embarked about 60 young persons have already participated, and we're starting a second cohort in a few months. So this year, a total of 120 young people would have passed through that program. But it operates in separate streams. This program is generic. It's for all young people between the ages of 16 and 40. So it takes in everybody.
Wilson Jones, National Guard. In a big technical question, can you speak to the specific requirements for participants for the apprenticeship program and the advanced program? What requirements do they have to meet to take part in the program?
Okay, well, in terms of the requirements, okay.
This is one time the mics don't belong to me, thankfully.
Well, essentially, this program is geared towards, as we said, school leavers and unemployed Bahamians. There isn't a specific technical requirement. They don't have to have a certain minimum level of education. It is just come as you are, and we will start the process of upgrading your skill set based on each and every individual Bahamian's needs and desires.
Is there a date for the start of both programs? Or an envisioned date?
As soon as we get the money.
Well, there is a process for getting the project up and running, right? So you have to establish the project executing unit and so forth. But once that gets up and running, it's off to the races. So, the answer is as soon as possible.
How many persons, sorry, Francesca ran out of the students are expected, I don't know if you said, to benefit from the program, or how many people will be allowed to?
So we're expecting another 1,100 persons in the new intake, and then 1,000, the pre-apprenticeship program, and then 1,350 to join that apprenticeship program. So significant number of young people will see some benefit from this program, direct benefit.
Just a robots guarding business. Do you already know some places where these people might be placed?
Yep.
Yeah, we have a
Maybe you can talk about how many businesses may be involved in
we have a shortage of trained Bahamians with specific skills. I see it every day in applications for labor certificates, where on our register, in terms of what we have, persons are not there to meet the demand of the marketplace. What this program is going to do, and we know it's going to be successful, we are going to train Bahamians, men and women, in the skills that is currently demanded by the marketplace. Our curricula in most of our institutions is outdated, going back in the 70s and in the 80s. This program is a modern skills and apprenticeship program, and we are going to target certain areas, especially ICT skills, some hard skills also. And the idea is, as the economy grows, we want Bahamians to take advantage of the opportunities here. We still approve too many labor certificates and issue too many work permits to non-Bahamians. What we want to do is to ensure, and we're happy that the IDB and the Ministry of Finance is working with us to ensure that all of the economic opportunities in the Bahamas can be made available to Bahamians, and we are trained to take advantage of them. That's what this program is all about. I answered your question?
Well, the training is going to take place where?
The center. We have a component of the loan is to construct a center.
Is the details of that job center, does it have to go into tender? Is that process already started? Is there a bill date in mind?
I can't answer. IDB, the IDB has a very specific.
It has.
No, it hasn't started.
It hasn't started.
The process would start once the, sorry.
Yeah.
The process would start once the loan, of course, has now been signed, and the process can start once it's eligible for disbursement. Yeah.
So as the representative would have said, there is a project management team that has to be established and set up, and then there is a process that you have to go through, including the tendering process or the design process, or actually back up the tendering process for the design process, and then the design, and then the actual contract awarding. So there's a bit of a process between here and the actual start of construction of the center, as it is with the start of the program. So this is the start of the formal start of this process, where we've signed the agreement now, and we will work through acquiring the initial startup funding, and then we're off to the races with respect to that. But this is a priority for the government. As you know, as the minister so ably said, we have a tremendous skills gap in this country, both here in the capital as well as throughout the Family Islands. Certainly from where I'm from, we see it every day, where we have a high number of technical trades people that come to the island to work in the maritime sector in particular. And this is something that we want to address very aggressively through this program. And so you will see in the shortest time period possible, where we start to focus on those specific skills that are needed in order to help us with this problem, and to get our young people back to work and restore a sense of hope that they have a future in this country, not only in the academic side, but also in the trade side, which is so sorely lacking and needed.
Is the job center expected to impact discouraged workers, which have seen have been quite high over the years?
Oh, absolutely.
I wonder if I can speak loud enough so you can go.
Keep moving these things around.
Thanks. Maybe lean right in the middle, and we can just lean forward.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, we have noticed the last survey showed a decrease in discouraged workers, and I think that was mainly because of the coming on stream of the Bahamas project. Whenever there's good economic news, people tend to go out and seek jobs. This here also will also help with that percentage. The more people are trained, the more they are more marketable to get jobs, and the more likely they are to seek jobs.
So in the future, this program will be funded by the government?
Well, it's a 50-50, well, not quite 50-50, but 40-45, 55%. It's 30 million on the government side and 20 million on the IDB side. We intend to, I got that figures right. Yeah?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
This program will be an institutional program, just like BTVI, University of the Bahamas, that will be, after the period of the loan, funded by the government.
Yeah, I'm going to go into that event. And my questions are, do you expect to pay the apprentices? Are you expected to pay rate for them? And also to how long the apprenticeship program lasts?
There is a stipend. I don't think we've determined the stipend yet. We have? No, we haven't. But there is a stipend, so it's more like a quasi job. for most of the participants, and I think it would also lend to the attrition rate being very minimum, because persons who tend to also be able to buy lunch and get transportation, have a couple of dollars in their pocket, tend to stay in the program. So the IDB, this is part of their institutional program that they have to ensure that stipends are provided.
The stipend is split in the same ratio between the IDB and government?
Well, it is one loan, so the money is coming from one fund.
How are you going to deal with the demand to be an apprentice in this program? I mean, lots of
You think it'd be thousands of people, right? But that's a good question, and I don't think us politicians should answer that question. That's a good question for the IDB.
That would be a very good problem to have. But we also know that from the data, it shows that there's actually a tremendous demand for those people to apply. So, people shouldn't be afraid of applying because they're not sure whether they'll get in. They should be looking forward to this because their employers in the market looking for their skills. So, yeah.
And I think, I'm sure there'll be some evaluation process, because again, we want to make sure that the participants in this program are successful. And so, if you have no interest in doing maritime work or technical trade work, then there's no point in applying for that. And so there will be some screening process that I imagine will be attended to the program. But I think we must focus on the areas that we're trying to address. And I think that would be the first sort of screening, if you will, because we are kind of focused on the identified areas. And so it'll be a fair process, I'm sure, and it will be open to all Bahamians. And this fits very nicely with what the government is trying to do with respect to BTVI, by the way, which is going to be operating a program on its own that will work very nicely with what we're doing here. So I think the good news is that there will be a significant number of training opportunities available for Bahamians, either through this program, through BTVI, or through the University of the Bahamas, as well as all the private institutions that we have in the country. And so hopefully we will see a meaningful impact from this program in a very short time.
How will you deal with family islanders who have to uproot themselves for the program?
Well, I think, again, one of the good components about this program is that there is a stipend attached to it. In addition to that, you would be aware that the Prime Minister has indicated from the campaign, basically, and for the last year, that as we move into the BTVI program and into the University of the Bahamas program, that there will be a stipend for living accommodations for Family Island students if they need to come to the capital to do training. I think the other part to this is that we do want to encourage more IT or use of IT, online classes and video conferencing and that type of activity, which will give us deeper reach into the less developed islands in particular. So hopefully we'll be able to mitigate some of that need for people to uproot to come to the capital.
Last question for me is, notwithstanding the funding mechanism and some additional components, how does this contrast or juxtapose with the Christie administration's apprenticeship program back in 2016?
Good.
I'm not familiar. Which program is that?
The apprenticeship program.
I'm not familiar with that.
Long-term training through the National Training Agency.
Well, I think what you're referencing is the National Training Agency and the soft skills program. That again, this is another add to that. We're not disturbing that program per se. This is a sort of a natural add to it to expand the breadth and types of training that is available to the Bahamian community. Again, this is targeted at some specific hardcore technical vocational type skills, whereas that program is more dealing with the soft skills and the hospitality industry and that type of thing. We certainly don't intend to water that program. We want to support that. But this is looking at some specific deficiencies that we have in the country, and as the Minister said, identifying jobs that actually exist that we do not have the skills currently to fulfill. and we want to attack that problem.
A person's free to leave the program at any time. Take, for instance, if I join the program and not be interested anymore, could that person freely leave, or is there a binding contract?
Well, slavery ended a long time ago, so they can leave when they want. but obviously, you know, any benefit that is to be derived from the program will be dependent upon them successfully completing the program. And so certainly we would want to encourage persons to stick with it. And again, the facility that is being made available certainly makes it attractive for persons to stay and to complete their training. Great. Thank you very much.
There are going to be refreshments in the conference room next to us, as well as you can receive a copy of the written statements. You can expect that.
FS, you